Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this meeting of Cabinet on this lovely, sunny, blue sky day. And welcome to all members and officers that are here, and also to those of you who may be watching from home. We begin, as always, with apologies for absence. Do we have any today? No. Moving on then to... Oh, we do. We've got Wendy Patterson, who is actually... at a hospital appointment. Yes. Thank you. And then number 2, minutes. These are the minutes of the last meeting held in March, which I will sign as a true record if you're all happy at the end of the meeting. Agreed? Yeah, that's fine. That's unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. The disclosure of members' interest is something that we do as well at the beginning of every meeting. And I'm sure that that has been dealt with by all members. So we can move on to our first report this morning, which is the Richard Stannard house conversion. And I'm going to ask Councillor Wearmouth to take this one.
Thank you.
Tell us about Richard Stannard. Who was he?
He was a famous captain of a ship in Blyth, and there's a beautiful picture of him in the town council offices, which I see regularly when I'm over there for regeneration meetings with the town council and other parties as well. I shall give you a bit of a lecture on it later, but there's more important business at hand, and that is indeed this report. There's, as I've said, a huge amount of work going on in Blyth, as members and residents watching will know. Blyth is changing for the better. Projects like the Northumberland line, which has been a huge success, and in fact we're having to look at how we can find perhaps more train carriages in order to accommodate all the passengers. It's been such a roaring success. Of course, there's other projects like the STEM facility as well that are receiving significant accolades and being regionally and even nationally recognised. In due course, we have the Market Pavilion opening later on this year, and I'm sure that's going to be a fantastic addition to the town centre. And I believe that we have the Energy Central Institute going to planning in the next week or so, and that would be a fantastic development as well. And we look forward to seeing that perhaps in due course, subject to that planning decision. This paper is not addressing transport improvements or education or economic development. This is looking at the housing element of the regeneration programme for Blyth. That programme includes significant housing renewal of some of the housing stock that the council owns in the town centre, energy efficiency programmes and so on, making those homes better for Blyth residents to live in once those refurbishments are complete. We've got dementia-friendly housing being built in Blyth as well, as you'll know, Leader. And then there's this project. We've been looking to repurpose Richard Stannard House for some time. It has been office space, but as things have changed post the COVID pandemic, there's not such a demand for office space in some of our town centres. And this seems a great opportunity to get more town centre living in Blyth. This project will use some money from the deep dive funding that we secured, you'll remember, from Michael Gove when he was in office during the last government. And this project will create 16 new apartments for Northumberland residents in the centre of Blyth. It'll get people living in the centre of Blyth, spending money in the centre of Blyth, and helping to contribute to the success of all of those other projects, as indeed the very successful project that we've had there with the St Homes at Commissioner's Quay has done, and it's shown that there is a significant appetite for people to live in Blyth and enjoy all that it has to offer. So with that in mind, I'll move to the recommendations, which are in section 3, and I'm happy to propose those as presented in the report. Thank you, Leader.
That's great. Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Watson. Yes, questions, please. Councillor.
Not questions, I was just going to say something.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Leader. Yes, Richard, at the start of his presentation, touched on Richard Stannard. And I actually, one of my favourite subjects is history, especially military history, so I know a bit about this. Richard Stannard was actually, he was a Royal Naval Reserve captain. He captained HMS Arab, and during the Norway campaign in 1940, his armed trawler was hit 31 times, but he managed to get it safely back to this country, and for that, he was awarded the Victoria Cross. Thought you'd like to know that?
Yes.
You're on the ship with them?
A tremendous figure from Northumberland.
And for the avoidance of doubt, we will keep his name attached to the building.
Indeed.
Which is important to note, I think.
I think that's really important to have the history of this and where the importance of that name should feature. So that's why we've kept that name. And this is a building, as Richard Wearmouth said, 16 affordable homes for people to live in the centre of Blythe, which is absolutely the right thing to be doing. And we've had very much a thumbs up from those people that we've been working with as to the strength and appropriateness of this project. So it's great news, and I'm very pleased indeed that we are taking it this morning, and we look forward to seeing the building start very soon. Anything else from anyone else? If not, so are you all in favour of those recommendations? Agreed. That's lovely. That's unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. And we're still in Blythe and other parts of Northumberland when we talk about this next subject, which is Northumberland's local cycling and walking infrastructure plans, which in a nutshell, Richard Wearmouth, means what?
Thank you, Leader. So, yes, this is the LC WIPs, as they sometimes get called, but cycling and walking improvement plans, for those that don't know the acronym. To some extent, this is a bit of housekeeping. We've been working on these plans over the course of a number of years, consulting with residents, making sure that we understand how they would like to move around the counties in terms of cycling and walking and what improvements we might deploy across a number of our communities. People, when I'm on the doors and talking around the county, they often ask, though, where can they see a copy of that? And this is us effectively formally approving them today so that we can publish them on our website and people can go and access them and see them. What does it mean in practice, though, for those projects? Well, we use these plans as the basis for funding applications to government. You'll be aware that cycling and walking improvements don't always come cheaply. And we always seek to attract funding from central government rather than spending Northumberland taxpayer money wherever feasible to build out these schemes across the county. These are not the final plans, and that's important to note. These are the illustrative, indicative plans that show where projects could be realised. But the final plans and all of the details about how they integrate with the existing infrastructure comes later. It comes with significant further studies and with public consultation to make sure that we're getting that right. And perhaps the best example of that is perhaps Coupon Road, which we'll all be familiar with, where there was a cycling route proposed along the side of there, which we secured funding for a project to connect Bebbside to the town centre, the new station at Bebbside to the town centre. We've had great feedback from local residents to say that they want to see a different and improved route, which is that is great feedback because it's reflecting their experiences of and lived experiences of their town, and that's what we're looking to rework. So therefore, on that project, but that's a great example of how we develop these initial concepts into something more tangible, reflecting the public's want and desire. So with that, there's a whole series of plans in this document. There will be more, no doubt, in due course as we look to develop other plans for other parts of the county, because we've had that question before from councillors in full council. But with that, I'll move the recommendations that are in the report so that we can get these published. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you very much. And seconded by Councillor Jones? Yes. Okay, so a very important bit of work this. As you say, Richard, it's been ongoing to make sure the programme is effective and right and suitable, and above all, making sure that we are linking our beautiful county to less use of cars where possible and more use of cycling and walking. you are right, absolutely, to say that we listened to the consultation on the Coupon Road scheme, and we decided, after listening to that, that it was right to just rethink this one and take our time to just make sure it's right, involving residents, ordinary residents that live in and around Coupon Road, and that's what we will continue to do. The others will provide excellent links right across the county. We're looking at, for example, Hexham to Corbridge, Bedlington. Of course, that's a huge scheme, that £8.9 million scheme. Again, a levelling up fund project in Ashington and in Haltwhistle and a couple in Blythe. So it's a county-wide initiative that will bring great benefit to those people that enjoy cycling, those people that enjoy walking, and above all, it will help us reduce our CO2 emissions as well. So really important piece of work, and great to see it across the county. Anything from anyone on this? I think we've discussed this, and we've spent a considerable time getting this right, and I'm therefore very grateful to all the work that's gone on. So it's been proposed and seconded. Are you all in favour? Yes, that looks unanimous. Thank you very much indeed. So we move on to our next paper, which is risk management strategy. This is an important function of any business, and it's therefore very important to us as a county council to make sure that we recognise risk in everything we do, because we provide so many different services, and that risk management is very much a key integral part of the way we run our business. It's about identifying risks in anything that we provide to the public, and then being clear and very straightforward about how we want to manage that risk and challenge what is causing that risk, and then to make sure that we deal with those risks and deal with them in a very sensible, straightforward, efficient way, so that it becomes not just recognised, but is fully embedded in the culture of everything we do as a county council. So the policy is there, and I'm very pleased with the way we have been so thorough in looking at this across the business, at everything that we do, and it will help us make sure that where there is a risk, we will recognise it, and then when we recognise it, we will deal with it to make sure that we are providing the best services that we can and do. So therefore, I formally propose this paper, seconded by Councillor Stewart. Anything else from anyone else? No? Okay, so that's excellent. Thank you very much indeed. Are you all in favour? Yes, you're all in favour. Lovely. Now we come to a summary of new proposals for spending money. And the first one today is the Great Northumberland Forest, which I will take. Back in 2019, Zach Goldsmith came up to Northumberland and talked to the Conservative administration about how we might be able to use our ambition to plant more trees in the right place in Northumberland and of the right species. And he awarded us the recognition of this and some money to get started with it. And we have a team that is helping across the county to build this into not just a dream and an ambition, but into reality. A Great Northumberland Forest is not a great big Kielder forest. It is a series of different plantings. It can be a small orchard. It can be a small copse that is used and enjoyed by a local community. And it can be a stand of broadleaves or softwood. And therefore, this paper says you're doing really well. You've got another 1.7 million to continue this really good work. And I'm grateful to DEFRA for that money. And I'm very grateful to the team that are providing all the expertise and all the enthusiasm and all the motivation to make this Great Northumberland Forest become a reality. So we'll take all of these in block when it comes to the vote, but are there any particular questions about this one? Yes, Richard.
Thank you, Leader. It was just a quick comment to say that perhaps, well, it's nice to see this project on the agenda today to see that we've got further financial backing behind it. We've been working on it for a long time, but maybe we need this opportunity to shout out about it a little bit more, because the government took to their waves the other day saying that they were launching the first new forest in the UK for 30 years. This project's been going for some time. It's incredibly successful. The officers, all of the team, all of the people who've engaged with it have been absolutely brilliant in getting trees in the ground, in the right place, the right trees in the right place. As you say, we don't want huge monoculture forests. We want something that's both useful in terms of forestry for the future, in terms of the construction industry, but also that reflects our huge desire to have much more biodiversity, to have people spending time in the countryside and enjoying everything that Northumberland has to offer in that regard. So a fantastic project. And long may it continue to be successful.
Yeah, that's really absolutely spot on. Thank you for that. I think Northumbrians can be very proud of the fact that the County Council, along with the Conservative government, did get this project set up, and the fact that we are delivering on it in a way that's involving lots of local communities, parish councils, nature groups, environment groups, to make sure that we do see a forest that is appropriate and that is open to all to enjoy. Any other questions or points? If not, been proposed and seconded, are you all in favour? This one? That's specifically on that one. Okay, we will come to the end though, when we'll do them all. Okay. So the next one is around our leisure service, and I'm going to ask Councillor Watson to tell us about the next items.
Thank you, Leader. I can just start off by saying how proud I am of the leisure service that we have here in Northumberland. It is one of the premier leisure centre offers to the public anywhere in the country, if not the best offer in the country. With 10 leisure centres and 360,000 population, it is very, very good to see how much money and effort we're putting into healthy lives and equalities with our leisure centres. And what's really pleasing is that we've changed our operators to a company who are going to do more outreach for us and do more healthy consultations to improve things across the general public. And our membership continues to grow. So with 10 leisure centres, you obviously have maintenance to do. We want to make sure that all our leisure centres are up and running and first class, not just our new ones, but also make sure that we do a really good maintenance programme on the older ones. All of this money that we're talking about today is already in the budget. It's existing. It's just how we utilise it. So if we talk about them one by one, I won't go into too much detail, but in the first one was in Waterworld, for example. Waterworld is having its boilers replaced to be more efficient. They are certainly not new, some of them, so we thought we should look at them, and the cost of replacing them will be saved to us by the efficiency of them. So that's what's going to happen there. In Wentworth, the roof of the sports hall is fairly old and needed looking at. It was first looked at in 2007, and we decided that it would be okay for a while longer, but now we've got to a point where we think it needs to be redone, and this will be done as quickly as we can. In Willoughburn, up in Alnwick, again one of our older leisure centres, we found that we had some problems with electricity, and we found that the ducts that had the cables in were actually deteriorating. They're running under the pool, so we're going to have to take them out of the pool, reschedule the route of them, and make sure that they are fit for purpose. So while we're doing that, we're putting in a dry side air heater unit to reduce our carbon footprint and to make the whole thing more efficient. Again, that is all costs which are in the existing budgets. The last one was in the there is a budget that covers it, but it was a bit of a surprise to us, this one. In Ashington, the learner pools, there'd been some chafing of some people's feet. They felt the tiles were a bit rough. So on examination, we decided that, yes, they were past their best and we should replace them. So that's what we're doing there. Again, though, there is the money in the budget to do that. So by doing this, we'll keep the service in its best possible condition and offer to the public for the ongoing future. And I'm really pleased that over the last 8 years, we've managed to achieve this fantastic offer. I think all Northumbrians who use any of our pools, any of our sports centres, say how wonderful they are. And I'm really delighted that this is the case. Thank you.
Excellent. So are you proposing this?
I am proposing them, all four of them.
Councillor Wearmouth. Any comments on any of these? Yes.
Yes, thank you, Leader. Absolutely fantastic news. It may be, as you described there, just replacing a few things, but what we are doing is investing in our leisure facilities right across the county, as you've mentioned there. And it's cost effective. It's going to provide a really regular, good service so people don't turn up and the leisure centres have got some fault there. So hopefully they'll be driving forward. I was out yesterday. I was at a bowls pavilion in a certain town in the west of the county, and I met some residents from Gateshead who remarked how good our leisure facilities are in this county. They're totally complimentary, and they were telling me how disappointed they were with their council in Gateshead, how little respect they give for the leisure facilities there. So we've got some regular customers coming across already from Gateshead into that town in West Northumberland, starting with a P.
Yeah, no, that's good to hear. Thank you for that. Anything else from anyone else? I would just simply say I agree with what you said, Councillor Watson, about the quality of the offer. And I actually would like to say thank you to Places who are running these for us, who I think so far are doing a great job and seem to continue to do that each day. I'm particularly pleased that we will be starting our community health, what do we call it again? Yeah.
Sorry, they have vehicles and staff who are now going to go out to help the communities where there isn't a leisure centre, to encourage their healthy lifestyles and do the training sessions during the summer for children, which is something we haven't done before, so it's a brand new thing.
Yeah, I think that's great. And also, of course, not forgetting the fact that we are seeing a continual rise in membership and numbers visiting, which is really pleasing. And I understand the customer satisfaction is doing very well. Am I right?
It is. It's very high as well, both staff satisfaction and public satisfaction.
Good. Excellent. So it's only right to continue with the motivation and ambition we have to have the best leisure offer anywhere in the country.
And we have, Leader, we have.
Excellent, good. Okay, so it's been pros and second. We'll come to the vote at the end, as I said. We then move on to the Borderlands Place programme. This is because we're taking this because Northumberland County Council is what is called the accountable body for the spending of Borderlands money. And so we have to agree before the final money is given to each project. And it's good to see that these projects that are taking place in Cumbria are ready to go. The Roxy in Ulverston, which I've personally not been to, but maybe one or two may have been, but that is a very good project, for example, that's looking at turning an old disused cinema into office space of the best quality. So it's good to see Borderlands, like that spending has done in Northumberland, where we see a new theatre coming to Berwick, where we've seen at Geffrin in Wooler, and a whole range of new initiatives, like, for example, the East Centre in Prudhoe, which the County Council are fully backing, along with a number of other areas of work in the county. So this is basically just agreeing within the process that we need to for those projects in Cumbria. And I propose this, and it's seconded by Councillor Wearmouth.
I will, Leader, but with an important caveat, because you've explained very well, but there's a further very important fact which is where the funding comes from, and it is government funding. There are people who accidentally, when they read papers on the council website and so on, might not understand that this is government money. We administrate on behalf of the partners that make up the Borderlands councils, including Cumbria, including others on the other side of the border in Scotland as well. And that is all that's being done here. And it's a quirk of the process that we have to approve it as the people who distribute the funds on behalf of the government. But there are no Northumberland taxpayer money involved in this.
No, absolutely, absolutely not. No, we wouldn't. And thank you for that. It's a very wise statement. No, we are not spending council taxpayers' money in the Roxy in Ulverston. This is Borderlands funding, which was set up, I think, by the Conservative government, wasn't it?
It was,
as
it happens, yes.
And which we are the accountable body, as I said, which is probably a bit unclear to some. It is basically because we hold the budget, it is part of the process, and that's why we have to take these schemes through the formal procedure in order to keep the schemes on track and get the money spent, of which there is good evidence of lots more money being spent because we did update our Borderlands programme and found extra money from our own resources to boost projects like, for example, in Northumberland, at the East Centre and programme. Yes, Councillor Watson.
I just wanted to briefly mention one of the projects. I don't know whether people understand how clever some of this money is being used. Up in Berwick, for example, on the barracks project, there was an old building that was used as a store. And because of all the things that are happening with the theatre and the maltings in Berwick, they converted this store into a temporary cinema while they closed the cinema in the maltings. And eventually we'll go back to the maltings. So we thought, if we're going to convert this building to a cinema, and it's going to have to be air-conditioned and properly filled out with, you know, new walls and central heating and everything, what are we going to do with it afterwards? And we were desperate to find somewhere for our archives. And so what we've done is, it will be a cinema for a while. People will then go over to maltings, and then we'll convert the cinema, which already has existing air conditioning, to a store for our archives. That is really good use of money that we've got for Borderlands, and we couldn't have done that without this funding.
No, very good example. Thank you very much indeed for that. Okay, so it's been proposed and seconded. We'll take the vote at the end when we do them all together. And the next one is the bus service improvement plan. I'm going to ask Councillor Riddle to tell us about this one.
Thank you, Leader. For those of us who know Alnwick and Alnwick Bus Station, they'll know that it's in the car park area outside Morrison's supermarket. They actually own the land, but it's leased by Arriva. The present facilities really aren't particularly fit for purpose. They're a bit dingy and outdated, and they don't actually... they're not very good for accessibility, put it that way. So all of this has been, I think, discussed with town councillors and the community, and really there's a slug of money that's come forward through the bus service improvement plan via the North East Combined Authority. And there's various improvements that are going to be made with new lighting and CCTV to combat some antisocial behaviour, etc. Wider bus bays because and raised curbs, and also reduced crossing widths, zebra crossings, and tactile paving. Something that I'm quite keen that we do, this tactile paving. And really, the whole purpose of this is to make it more accessible to everybody, to make buses more user-friendly, and really to increase footfall and use less reliance on cars. So really, the only other thing I need to really mention is that this will be done on a non-commercial basis, in that, you know, it'll be for the public's benefit. There'll be no charge here, and it'll be very transparent and non-discriminatory, and hopefully more accessible to everyone.
Yes, excellent. Thank you very much. So, yes, you're quite right. The bus station in Alnwick is a great project, and I'm very pleased we're going ahead with it. Are you proposing this scheme? And it's seconded by Councillor Horncastle. We'll come to the vote at the end on all of them. It's a lot of money we're talking about here that's going to be invested in Alnwick, but absolutely the right thing to do. And of course, talking about bus services, we know that we are providing considerable subsidy to allow bus services to continue to run through rural areas, which is obviously very important. Yes.
Yeah, just one additional point. You know, we're spending quite a lot of money in Alnwick, and you know this will improve the public realm as well. We're spending money on Alnwick cobbles, etc. And you know we all know that Alnwick Gardens is a great tourist attraction, etc., etc. So this is investment into Alnwick.
It is. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, so any questions about this one? If not, we'll come to it at the end. Now we move on to a very important piece of work as well, which is the simpler recycling food waste bay. What's that about, Councillor Horncastle?
Thank you, Leader. Before I start on that, I've been wanting to say something at many cabinet meetings about, don't we, I know you're taking me by surprise here. Some people out there that watch these cabinet meetings on YouTube, either live or at a later date, often say to me, you don't spend much time when you bring in these fantastic new policies and spend millions of pounds, because that's what it looks like to people out there. But I just want people to know that this is just the final part of a long process where things aren't decided in a couple of days, a couple of weeks. It takes many, many months, sometimes years, as in the case of this recycling issue here. And there's a huge team of people with senior officers and their teams behind them doing all the work, so a big thank you then. So anybody watching this, we have put an awful lot of work into this. There's been the SLT, see that's a senior leadership team, backwards and forwards to get things absolutely fine-tuned before they come here. I don't like to use the expression rubber stamping, but this is what it is. It's the end of a long process. And I think that's important to say, Leader. Right, so what's this? Simple recycling. Food waste bay. Well, basically, it's a small amount of money, £58,000, to build a new food waste bay, or silo, if you want to call it, at the Westleigh-Burn Waste Transfer Station. And this is part of the absolutely fantastic recycling system that we carry out in Northumberland. We are the second best authority in the North East, just slightly behind Durham, which kind of surprises me when you think that the two rural authorities are the leaders in this, and but there you are. So this is something that is called simpler recycling, which I think most of us will have heard of by now. Is to make recycling simpler, actually, to unify it across the country. Because we all know that when you go and visit friends and relations outside of Northumberland, or they come visit you, they say, oh, well, we can recycle that at our place, or we go to their houses and they say, oh, we can't recycle that, we can recycle that. So simple recycling is to unify it amongst the whole country so we can all do the same thing. Unfortunately, there's a bit of a snag for us because of the way DEFRA, the formula they use to work out how much money they give us for the new burdens funding. And they haven't given us enough either capital or revenue to carry out food recycling, which has got to come in on the 31st of March next year. They haven't given us enough money to do the whole of the county because we've got to redo all the routes, but they have new 7.5-ton wagons. But we have got enough money in place to carry out this food recycling, which is what this food waste bay is for, amongst the more urban areas of Northumberland and possibly Morpeth as well. So that's what's about, Leader. £58,000 for this new food waste bay at Westleigh-Burn, so we can start the food recycling. It's the most up-to-date design you can get. It'll meet all the DEFRA and Environment Agency requirements, so we can control rodents and keep the waste totally separate from the dry waste recycling. So that's what it is.
Thank you very much. You're proposing this? Are you proposing?
I am
Yeah,
proposing it,
yeah,
yes.
and seconded by Councillor Stewart. Okay, so any questions about this exciting new development, which will see food waste collection and hopefully the government will continue to look at funding this in the way that will allow us to do everything we want us to do. Any questions or queries? No? Everybody happy with this one? Yes, Councillor Riddle.
Just a comment, really, Leader. You know, it's a bit like democracy. It's the right thing to do, but it costs money. And it's just unfortunate, you know, DEFRA are being a bit tight with the money here, because really they need to really recognise that in Northumberland, with it being so rural and, you know, 3,000 odd miles of road, for instance, that, you know, they need to put the money where their mouths are. And if government is really serious about recycling, then we do need it to be fully funded. Otherwise, it falls on the taxpayers of Northumberland.
Yes, absolutely. So let's hope that we will get this extra funding that we need to allow us to recycle even more than we are at the moment, and I look forward to that. Anything else, Colin?
Yes, this recycling is such a complicated issue. I mean, members of the public, they think recycling, they see the bin wagons come up the morning, the waste disappears. It's not quite as simple as that. It's a huge industry out there. The reason they're taking the food waste out of the normal stuff you put in your bins is that the stuff that can't be recycled goes to incinerators on Teesside, and that produces an awful lot of electricity and an awful lot of money for us. If they take the food waste out, it reduces the dry matter content of what's being burnt, so it burns better. But there's a slight snag with that, and this is why the whole green thing is so complicated. It burns hotter, so they've actually got to turn the incinerator down a bit, which means that our recycling facility will be putting through 13,000 tonnes less waste than it normally does. And the food waste then goes to an anaerobic digester to produce electric too. Now, that will not affect us. We can still send all our stuff to the incinerator, but it might mean that the incinerators on Teesside may not be able to take as much waste in from the private sector. So it's recycling is seriously complicated, very.
Thank you very much. Okay, so any questions or points about this? We wrap all of these together. All have been proposed and seconded. Are you all in favour of all of this expenditure? That is unanimous. That takes us to almost the end of the meeting, but I do want to raise two items that are, I think, needing to be raised. The first one is that on top of our children's services that were judged outstanding, and then our adult services which were judged outstanding, we've just recently had our skills service judgment, which is good. And I've actually, sorry, I've got that wrong. The adult services is good, as is the business services, which is good, and the skills service. So I'm very proud to be able to say that that is a tremendous achievement, one outstanding and two goods, just in the space of a year. And I'm very proud of everyone that's been involved in that, and very grateful as well. Secondly, I just want to raise the fact that the Northumberland line, which was a hugely ambitious and very challenging project for us to get started on and to actually see the completion of the line and the usage has taken a bit of courage, actually, because we've been criticised frequently about a number of things, about stations not opening quickly enough and so on, and also the fact it wouldn't get used and it was a waste of money. Well, I can say now that we have just passed the figure of journeys of 250,000 in around 4 months. That is absolutely fantastic. It doesn't include the special day for the Carabao Cup celebration. So we should be very pleased, all of us, for having delivered this line. The other stations will be open soon, and they will provide a fantastic service to everyone for years and years to come. So with that, can I thank you all for attending and wish you well.